Hello traders and welcome to this new Bitcoin technical, orderflow, macro and on-chain analysis video. Past few weeks I'm getting questions if Bitcoin topped out, if we are ending the bull market, what are the targets to the downside. People are really scared after 10th of October drop because it wiped out many market participants. So in today's video I would like to show you what are my arguments for the bull market continuation, but also what are the arguments for the bear market start. You have to do that. You cannot be just on one side of the market. You need to do analysis. This is called probabilistic analysis, where you will have a multi-angle view on Bitcoin. This is going to be a plan. As it's very complex topic, I had to prepare the plan for this video. You see, we will be starting with what's in favor for the cycle pause, bear market. Yes, we'll go over all of that. Then we move to bull market continuation arguments. And after that, I'm gonna tell you how I'm actually protecting myself and what steps I'm taking to, participate if we get bear market and if we get bull market. This is extremely crucial. This is not only crucial for traders, but also for the hodlers and investors. And I'm really getting, every single day I'm getting question if bull market is over. So this video can be valid for next few weeks or even months. I'm gonna be just sending this video to people so they understand. Few more posts here. Also, small reminder, we will have Black Friday sales in the middle of the November, so you will have really good discounts on membership. And I already made lots of new content. I improved education in the group. Currently, I'm working on news trading section. Let me show you here, because in this market, you only have 4 or 5 types of edge. And the edge is you can consistently be profitable and trade what is market offering you in 2025. First edge is order flow and technical analysis together. That's what we are doing in a group. Second edge is global order flow and data. This is mainly for big swing trades, but also for day trades with the TRDR, for example. The third edge is news trading. It's over here. News trading is you have economical releases, you have black swan, white swan events, you have tariff wars, you have many things you can actually trade even outside of Bitcoin. And these trades are not coming to you every single day, but when they come, you have to be ready and you need to know how to trade it. Yeah, what's the risk? You will be learning from examples. I already finished 60% of this section, so in a few days it's gonna be released. And final mission for the 2025, like for the rest of the months and even to 2026 is going to be educating all our traders on options. Options, they are the fourth edge in the current market. The traditional markets are missing the order flow. They have only very limited order flow like we have in crypto, but they have options. Options, they certainly replace order flow in traditional markets. They can show you where is the smart capital, what are they trying to do. So absolutely crucial to learn. And now as Bitcoin is more institutionalized, it needs options as additional confluence. It's very helpful. I'm already utilizing it as I'm learning it. It helped me to provide to get some clarity into the market. So yeah, this is coming soon. And now let's dive into the plan of the video. So let's go to section here. So I just want to remind you, Bitcoin moved 700% in this current bull market to the upside. So it actually doesn't own us anything. You should feel no fear, pain in stomach or whatever your portfolio is going down. Bitcoin already delivered. Yeah, it's gonna be having diminishing returns as we move into the future because the market cap is growing. But Bitcoin, I already took lots of profits on more hot wallet Bitcoins, yes, which were meant to be, riding the cycle. So this is already good. And now, before you ask me, because I'm getting these questions almost every day, when is the bear market ending? Or is bull market still here? Remember this. Markets aren't puzzles, they are probabilistic distributions. Markets aren't puzzles waiting to be solved. They are collections of potential outcomes, each with its own likelihood and probability distribution. This distinction is far from minor. It fundamentally separates amateur thinking from professional thinking. Systematic traders don't ask, what's going to happen next? Okay, I'm getting 90% of questions, I like that, and even in general chat, or 80%. But we ask, if you already know this first column, what could happen, how likely is each outcome, and how can I position myself profitable within those probabilities? Yes. And this is not just trading, it's also combined with the investing. I can show you one small example where I'm gonna show you the trades I was taking. Like, these are the like best trades I was taking. I was not even trading as much this week because I'm working on a new section. But again, when I was taking the all-time high swing failure pattern short, I had realistic targets to hit take profit 1 in this local range, but then when it started moving to the downside, it becomes swing trade. Right now, I still hold 30%. Let me update this, 30%. Remaining short, because this is hedge for my swing. If we get bear market, I'm gonna keep this trade. This trade is gonna be stopped out, or I will be riding it down for the next few months and weeks when we have bear market. Same thing here. This was public trade with the group, short at 116,000, very close to it. We did swing failure pattern. For the long time, we were waiting for this area. We are waiting for this area to be taken out to fix the weak lows, weak highs, and then the order flow was really, really good. I was taking trade. You could be adding here or taking new short when you missed, and now I'm adding it to the downside. I already had to take profits, as you can see. I'm keeping another exposure on short in case we go much lower. So yeah, but I will be showing you trade management, but this is just showing you, even if you don't know if the bull or bear market is coming, you can still trade Bitcoin very efficiently and just trade the local or medium time frame range you are in. Yes, because this is still range actually. So like you ask too much into the future, because the more you ask into the future, the less certainty we have, because we cannot predict black or white swan events. Yes, it's much easier to predict intraday. Yes, like scalpers, day traders, this is easier to predict into the few days. But then into the few weeks, it gets more and more complicated. But again, we can go over this because we have some strong arguments for both scenarios, and you will make your mind. Yeah, I will then tell you my opinion was like after we go after all my analysis, I will tell you like if there is 60% chance or 70% chance or 40% chance. Okay, so what's in favor of cycle pause or bear market? The first warning sign for me is broken correlation with equities. We can go into the template where I'm watching the equities. This is the blue line, and this is S&P 500. This is futures, so it's ES1. Let's go to daily time frame, or actually it's gonna be better on 4-hour time frame here. So you can see Bitcoin, since Trump tariff drops, was pretty much locked with the push to the upside with the ES1 with the equities, and it was actually outperforming the push to the upside on equities. But we can see from this point, when we like Bitcoin was here, and then we've got the flash crash drop. Yes, this was a news event again. Trump was spooking market with the China tariffs. You can see equities were dropping, but you know they were recovering pretty quickly. They actually recovered full drop, and they are now pushing firmly into the new all-time highs, because this is the seasonality. This is the best time for equities. And you can see what is Bitcoin doing. Bitcoin is actually heavily lagging. It's still in the more medium time frame range, and is definitely not close to the all-time high. So this is really first warning sign. Bitcoin tends to lead and crypto markets tends to lead. Maybe the equities will actually put stop later, and Bitcoin is already leading to the downside. But again, there is not much evidence because we are still ranging. But again, this is warning sign for me. This is first warning sign. I don't like to see such a big lag, because we didn't have such a big lag for a very long time, for the past year actually. Yeah, we are locked together. So this is the first warning sign. The second warning sign is gold. When gold is increasing, like we've seen past few months, even like weeks, it often signals market, not market, but it can signal potential future systemic shock is coming into the market. I can show you the correlation. So let's turn on the gold. You can, like the most recent example we have from December, the gold was increasing very heavily. Yes, market was already hedging potentially against the Trump, and then we've seen the tariff induced drops, yes, in the market, and gold was still rising. So actually there was massive hedging on the gold market before the news events, because the smart money actually know before things happen. Yeah, they have the best insider knowledge anyway. And right now this push on the gold, this when we broke from here, from this local range, also very crazy. We already are putting some nice stop because the China stopped buying gold, but still. But you can also see here 2019, 2020, 2021. Yeah, you just have to see all these correlations. Equities are pushing. Bitcoin actually was pushing into the market high, but you see gold started really parabolic increase, yes, here when Bitcoin was already downtrending, and equities were also downtrending from the all-time high. So both assets, equities and Bitcoin down, gold parabolic moved to the upside, and we actually started bear market. So this is a huge warning sign for me. Ultimately, even gold is not immune against financial crisis. Just remember that you will not find any safe place when true financial crisis comes. Only true place to be safe is cash, because without cash you then buy the dip. So you see again, very, very interesting similarity. Another warning sign for me. There is just reason we've seen such a big upside. Another reason is China. China is buying gold heavily. They want to separate from the West. So this is the second sign. Another sign is Friday 10th flash crash drop. Implications and fractal from 2021 is complete now. We were tracking the fractal from 2021 for over 2 weeks. Let me show you here. We've seen same, I will return back to 2021 very briefly, but you can see Bitcoin was actually ahead of the fractal, then it was lagging 1 or 2 days, and then we actually played out here. You see why I was using that fractal from 2021, because this was extremely rare event. Yeah, this was like, I think Sigma 3 or just crazy move to the downside, which is not happening regularly. Like such drops happen once a year or once a 6 months. So you need to see how price was behaving back then. And from 2021 I've seen we can range for 2 weeks. So that was also my expectations I gave to our traders and to myself. Very likely we will pull medium time frame range, and then we will be looking for this range. We were also looking to place higher low than this one, and we did so. It was just a different magnitude. Now the fractal played out, because from the lows, from the higher low, same like in 2021, we went to the upside, we did swing failure pattern. We actually even did swing failure pattern in 2021 and then reversed. So let me now show you. So let's go for 4-hour time frame, because it's really so much in the past. You can stay on Bybit, and let's go. And you will see why the 2021 drop was really scary. Look at that. Is it not insane? You know, you can predict future again in very small time frames like intraday, and you can also watch price action fractals, because they tend to repeat what we did in 2021. Yeah, this was reset. This actually started bear market, but I can tell you, you can even go into the group and check how I was trading in December 2021. This is beauty of the Discord. Yeah, it like tracks all the history. You can see we were not even sure it's bear market. We didn't know. It was full round trip of the impulse, very similar to what we had in the previous cycles or current cycle. But this range was very crucial. Yeah, this range was very crucial. And you see we repeated same thing as we did just few days back. We did swing failure pattern of this high. We fixed equal highs, and then we started moving down. So that's why the 2021 fractal played out. Even this move down is still following the fractal of 2021. And now we were ranging, then we moved to the downside. I just want to show you this fractal, because if it repeats on Bitcoin, it can also start the bear market. So just be very, very careful. For our current environment, we have to watch what Bitcoin does at the, this was huge volume drops in 2025, yes. Same like in 2021. Watch what Bitcoin does around that week. We were seeing some swing failure patterns, some range, and then we started actually moving down. There was like huge liquidity grab, because you see the structure. Yeah, there was like lots of crucial lows here, lots of liquidity. Look what happened next. Yeah, then we put in another medium time frame range. This was actually taking few months, yes, but then we like continued into the bear market, because the Fed was affecting markets in these high time frames. Yes, you got the technical analysis, you got a bit of order flow, but the macro time frames on these 4-hour to daily time frames, everything is happening from macro, from Fed, and from all the key indications we watch. So again, for me, it's gonna be crucial on Bitcoin when we now return back, how well we are trading in this range. If I want to be bullish, sorry, I'm gonna be dubbing a bit into technical analysis, but again, we need to hold this range properly, and then we, resolve to the upside or to the downside. And again, based on the previous drop, I will be watching what we do with the week low, if we do swing failure pattern or not, how well we hold it, because ultimately this happened over the weekend, and weekend sooner or later you will revisit the low or high of the weekend. Market wants, like real institutions and proper volumes wants to find out how strong it is. It's gonna be just a matter of time, very likely. So that's from that. And the Friday wiped out billions of capital. It actually wiped out market makers. When I go to Binance, this is Binance leverage. Look at the order books. Yes, before the flash crash drop, we've actually seen 2 or 3 times more orders in the order books compared to what we have now. Look how empty they are. Sometimes you have the wall somewhere, yeah, like, oh, okay, this one is big, but overall, like, these walls are pretty liquidity is returning to the Binance. That's cool, but still you have lots of empty sites, and generally order books are so empty. And this is leverage. It tends to be like 2-3 times larger, believe me, because I remember how we were trading before the crash. So order books got big hit. This is another sign of stress in the markets. It takes time for heal, but I think yeah, many people will not even return to crypto after such a drop because they were just destroyed. So yeah, this still has implications. It's still playing out the same fractal, and I think is another contributing factor. People are in fear. Without the flash crash drop, because again, we've had drops in the past which results to the upside if you are in bull market. What I want to say, such drop here, if you start to do, so you do bounce, yeah, you do swing value pattern maybe, but if you start going down after such event, after such a huge magnitude event, you might actually start bear market. So we have to be careful. On other hand, like all our cycles, when we had medium time frame to high time frame EPA drops, when you come here, when you reclaim whole drop, is very likely we go for all-time highs. But I don't think we just do another marginal high, because look what Bitcoin is doing: high, marginal high, marginal high, like so many swing failure patterns, very slow. If we come into the all-time highs out of such huge drop, it's very likely we push to 130, 140, because you have so much kinetic energy absorbed here, so many billions and billions, and the big entities who control the market fill their orders. So, and when you come below them, you create extra pressure for the market. So you see this has strong implications. Another risk for us, this risk is waiting in the shadows, but I think when we open the treasury companies, so you know, treasury companies, I have these two, let me show you. So many companies in the world were buying Bitcoin into their balance sheet, yes. And when Bitcoin goes for deeper and deeper pullbacks and starts bear market, they will be forced to sell because they have debts. Yes, they were buying often. They were often borrowing money to buy Bitcoin with low debt, but if they need to neutralize their obligations, yes, and pay the debts, they will have to sell Bitcoin. So I thank you, market strategy, from bottom of my heart for pushing Bitcoin so high. Yes, they literally changed my life, because this cycle is already life-changing for me, thanks to those gains. And especially I was holding also MicroStrategy, 2000% move to the upside, insane. So I thank you them, but in the future they will become risk for Bitcoin. And not only, like, strategy is actually best position in the market. They will not feel pressure to sell Bitcoin even at 20,000. But many other companies don't have same privileges. They will be suffering way sooner. And already on X, if you check from 2 days back, 29, yeah, it's just from day back, there was another big sale from Sequin, and they just sold 970 Bitcoin. So day back or 2 days back, they already pressured market with extra sell, and this is just one company. And you can see when we come to to the list, yeah, some of them are miners here, so you need to understand who is miner or not. I would welcome some icon here who is not a miner, but some of them will be selling and forced to sell Bitcoin. So the treasury companies helped our bull market, but they will also outstretch bear market to the downside. You can actually see where they were buying, like there is average for their buy. I'll be showing you that at the end of the video. And it's very important average to know, because then you know whole treasury companies, you know, they are getting under pressure. Another thing you can watch is the tracker for strategy. You can notice the few companies which were added recently. Look at the Metaplanet. They also went heavily into Bitcoin. They own 30,000 Bitcoin. That's very good, but the MNAV premium is still very high. Let me explain you MNAV. This is important for us to watch. Let me show you strategy. Yes, here it is. So yeah, today there was another drop. When we are in true bull markets, you tend to see treasury companies trading with larger premiums because people are just greedy, and many investment platforms and institutions, they cannot even buy Bitcoin still. They need to buy this strategy, for example. When we are in more stress regimes or bear markets, you will see market now premium shrinking down. What does it mean, this MNAV? So it means when you have the stock value is matching the, when you have 1-to-1, like when 1 is here, the stock price is matching the Bitcoin values they are holding in their treasury. Okay, when you have MNAV 2, then their stock price is reflecting double the treasury what they own. So for example, like right now when strategy price is, where is the price? Do we have it? No, here strategy is, should be here. We can check here, MicroStrategy. The price is 254 and the MNAV is very close to 1 now. Yeah, so if the MNAV will be 2, you will have price of MicroStrategy at $500 right now. So you see MicroStrategy right now is not trading with the premium. And look at the pressure. Yes, we've lost like very critical support here from the previous range. I am not sure if I'm because I'm charting MicroStrategy, but I'm not charting it here on this link, somewhere in others. But here we've had that point of control where many people bought the dip. This is failing now, so market is rotating back into, like it rotated this previous range. So we are right now at VAL. They just reported earnings right from VAL, so some traders are trading in on the futures. Super easy. You can trade anything in the world with correct procedures, even this. Anyway, you see the pressure. So they have very little premium, and when we go into the bear market, the premium is going to be shrinking below 1. This is, by the way, time when you need to start like you can potentially build some nice positions. That's how I was buying MicroStrategy in the previous bear market lows. Other companies will create extra pressure on Bitcoin. And everything I said today is not financial advice, just education and entertainment. Yes. So yeah, they will be pressuring market, and you can see here MetaPlanet still trading with pretty high premium, but this is not like updated properly. This website, it should be lower today because they got a drop, and you have few others. They are not as big, like 1,000 Bitcoin is even nothing. So yes, yeah, I'm keeping eye on treasury companies. It's another risk for us in the future. You can even see the article here from Yahoo. So even like retail is getting these articles now. Crypto treasury firms stare down leverage crisis as NAV discounts force risky moves. Yes, valuation challenges. Again, they need to pay the debt, and yeah, these metrics are getting broken below now. When the NAV 1 is getting broken, then they can be forced sell to more Bitcoin. Yes. So that's all about it. So watch for that treasury company stress. Is gonna be crucial moving forward. Another thing we have now is hard fork and potential split in Bitcoin community drag for next 12 months. You can open Tony Hayes on Twitter or on YouTube. He was doing podcasts with many people in the Bitcoin community, like 3 videos. I was watching them recently. They were explaining the Bitcoin is now voting on. There is new update for Bitcoin, and they are voting if they want to make much larger size on Bitcoin blockchain. People could be uploading the pictures, and it's like 100,000 increase in size. Yes, and some people are worried this is causing legal challenges for the miners, and they might be prosecuted in case Bitcoin is spreading malicious content. I don't think a community on Bitcoin was so much split on next update as in this hard fork. Make sure to research this. It's still not hitting retail much because it's still not such a big issue, but it can be in next 12 months. Eventually, if this continues and there is no good update for Bitcoin, I think we can see the hard fork on Bitcoin in next 12 months. It will all depend on the miners because miners are not moving yet. The update was done for the users right now, but how miners behave in the future is going to be important. If in case Bitcoin gets a hard fork or like very split community, imagine like 50% of people won't update, this very bad update in my opinion for Bitcoin, or 50% of people don't want any update. it can damage Bitcoin very, very seriously. I think this is one of the reasons, and very smart money are seeing this as a problem, and they don't want to put much premium on Bitcoin because of this. So this is another reason hindering the market to the upside. Yeah. Now we have another argument for the bear market. So halving cycle fractal played out. First pause is here. You can pause the video. I was showing it already in previous video, but again, you can post. This is like very brief. Just want to remind you this. Even like in previous cycle, each time we went for 574 days, we've seen market cycle, you know, cooling down, going sideways, and then going for the pullback. So Bitcoin is doing nothing special and is not surprising for us. Many people are front running this cycle. They are not even waiting for October, November, and December. They're just taking profits on altcoins and Bitcoin. The cycle is possibly still with us, but there are more posts about it. You will see them on Onchain, because you cannot just blindly look at halving. So which leads to long-term hodlers profit taking. So we don't need to assume spot buyers and hodlers are taking profit. We see that on Onchain. Look here. So we can see here the positions of how many years people are holding their Bitcoin. We can clearly see each time since in our bull market, we've seen huge profit taking waves. Yes, here there was lots of short-term profit taking, but also some parts were like very old hodlers. Some, look at here, like this was funny. This was 100. So in July, like whole summer, we've seen very old whales waking up. Look at the color. This is plus 10 years. Some whales which were holding Bitcoin over 10 years, they were taking profit during summer. They're very cheeky. And right now we see the increasing trend. We are not seeing decreasing trend. This is showing us people on hodling accounts are continuing to sell their Bitcoins. I don't blame them, and I think it's very clever, because I'm in these waves. Since Bitcoin came to 100,000, like here, this was my first take profit area, very public in the group. Then 110, 120, even 126 a bit. I sold another, like this was public call. I sold another 10% on Bitcoin. On tariffs, I sold another. So you see, I have no problem calling like that. So while this is increasing, this is not good sign, because it tends to lead to, extra pressure in the market. And again, we are in pretty high thresholds. It's not like here, pretty small thresholds. It continues to go. Right now, we see outflows, like people selling from long-term holding. Like outflows are at 22,000 Bitcoins per day, very high. So that's another reason. And one more post is here. To gauge intensity of the long-term hodl selling, we can turn to transfer volumes from low LTH like to exchanges. We also see a large increase of Bitcoins and crypto going to, this is Bitcoin, so not crypto, going into the exchanges. Yes, each time we see like very large increases into the exchanges. Since December 2023, we've seen Bitcoin definitely not pushing to the upside. Here was exception. But Bitcoin went into the few weeks or a few months of range. So yeah, these people are slowing down Bitcoin performance. Same here, people panically selling into the lows. Same thing here, this actually started distribution. Then people panically sold their Bitcoin, but whales absorbed them. So you often see these big spikes at highs, but also at the lows when we have peak fear. And another distribution was happening here, another profit taking wave, another one. So if we see, yes, someone is actually absorbing these people, but we also see increasing profit taking. So that's that additional pressure we talk about. And I think these people are taking profit because they think the halving cycle, 4-year cycle, is like over. Yeah. For now, someone is absorbing them, but if we start losing very critical levels from on-chain and from technical analysis, we will get into trouble. Seasonality narrative failing. This is another argument. Let me show you that on chart. We go here, seasonality indicators, favorite indicators. No, I didn't want this one. This one. I also watch it on CoinGlass here. So CoinGlass and seasonal quarterly returns, we can see 2023, 2024, huge moves to the upside. And now Q4 is still like very negative. So, and based, if you want to average 16 years on a chart, you have this indicator. And from that you can see Bitcoin like should be pushing, like it was already in line with the seasonality up to this point. Then we did the all-time high swing value pattern and we started moving down, and we are still going against the seasonality. We should be pushing to the upside. We still have 8 weeks left, and we will talk about it more in the bull market case. But yeah, it's worrying for me, because yeah, we should be just following seasonality to the upside. Seasonality is extremely powerful in traditional markets. Now we have macro talk. This is going to be a bit longer, but I can explain. So the Fed potentially is acting too late, maybe giving us financial crisis and macro pullback in 2026. Bitcoin is not gold. This year we find out Bitcoin is definitely not gold. It's more of a coal mine of the global liquidity. Because if Bitcoin is gold, it should be moving 1-to-1 with gold. Gold had best year over, I think, 20 years. We already like 50-60% up. It went to the upside. Bitcoin also, like in relative terms, did really well this year, but it was not following gold in the impulse fractal, yeah, when we broke 3,000. So yeah, Bitcoin is more like global liquidity. And I can explain you this macro in a like very short time. We go for this window where I have everything prepared. This one, we go back to Bitcoin. I would like to explain you when we are getting these cycles, when we are getting better iron bull market cycles, thanks to a few metrics we watch. We will watch federal balance sheet with this. We can make this smaller, and we will watch this on weekly scale. Or okay, we can do 1 day. So we have federal balance sheet. We then have the interest rates. This is the blue line. And we also have the unemployment rate. Let me check if I'm not security info. Yes, unemployment rate, this one. And we also need the quarters. So I would like to remind you, every single time Bitcoin was topping out in Q4. We can go to, I want to show you a larger history. So Bitstamp is great for that, yes. Zooming out. Just reminder, I'm not going into the older cycles. Even here we are missing institutional interest. But you can clearly see Bitcoin topped out in Q4 2017. Yeah, we've had a huge pump and push to the downside. Same thing here. Let's go to 2021. Q4 was really great performing move to the upside. We didn't see the peak of the cycle yet, but next year in 2021 we had heavy push to the upside, and then we started, Fed was cutting rates, raising rates, and then we started bear market. So Q4 again, big push and then pullback. What is Bitcoin doing current cycle? Bear market. We found, you see how influential are Q4 inflows and outflows, because the most money is transacting right now. Everybody returned from holidays, and it's just increasing. So you see, we found bottom in Q4, big pump as expected. It was still not even confident bull market. Then we had huge push in last quarter. This one was Trump getting re-elected. This was the push thanks to that, yeah, huge pricing in. We left the big range, so huge outperformance. You can notice one thing: we topped out also in Q4 of the last year. We put high, then we did secondary all-time high swing failure pattern. Yeah, we were shorting that, and then we went into the multi-month pullback. So what is Bitcoin doing right now? Well, it's not delivering previous performance of quarters. We've seen push, like this was really good push. People were expecting 130 or 140, but instead we did just all-time high swing failure pattern, and we shorted Bitcoin, yeah, for the huge gains. And right now we are just going sideways. This is still has 8 weeks left, but it's not a good start as in previous Q4s. So that's what I wanted to show you just on quarters. And now let's go back to the economy implications. First thing I want to tell you, this is very, very crucial line for you. Bitcoin is global liquidity reflection. When, and especially US liquidity, when US is printing the most money, other countries are important, but US is the most important with its balance sheet. The corona drop stimulated all central banks into the highest inflation and also the highest printing in the human's history. So there was no other option for Bitcoin to just go up. You can notice there was visible lag, there's like huge lag. Bitcoin started increasing way later. And this was your time. Like when you just remember in the future, when we get like another strong bull market, remember when Fed does this out of any crisis, there is very likely risk assets will, like you need to start build positions, and very likely you get big push to the upside on Bitcoin and other assets. This was just unprecedented, and you know, it was still pushing, they were still pouring liquidity into the market. And then they were signaling they will start the balance sheet reduction, and this actually started over here. The balance sheet reduction, it even went into the bear market. What is really good, why this cycle was really nice for Bitcoin, it actually ignored even the shrinking balance sheet on on Fed, because the economy was doing so well. Like we have AI revolution, like hundreds of billions are getting generated in sales. I don't think it's dot-com bubble, because the dot-com bubble had lots of debt and there were no sales. What we have now, like AI is producing really good profits and there are a lot of sales, so it's very different. And Bitcoin, despite Fed reducing the balance sheet, was increasing really nicely. And one thing, like really big downside of this, we never had proper alt season. Only like layer one cryptocurrencies were pushing to the upside. So Ethereum, Solana, few big others. Then you have exchange tokens were pushing. So lots of altcoins with utility, but over 90% of the market is still, like even right now after the flash crash drop, is 60 to 80% below all-time highs. This is one of the reasons why like Fed was never printing so obviously like not. In the future we might see, because the Jerome Powell is ending his mandate in few months, the Fed chairman, and Trump is gonna put person who is very pro printing. So it's very possible the Fed starts to stimulate the economy again. So we might see, the Fed said recently they will be stopping quantitative tightening, because this balance sheet reduction is called like that. They will not engage in quantitative easing unless rates are very low. That was their statement, the Fed fund rates. But what we can see in the future, we might see go sideways, and when economies when we get like bear market, Bitcoin dropping heavily, equities as well, they might start stimulating economy again, and then Bitcoin will also follow from that. Yeah. So my very strong green light for the future bull market is going to be Fed printing again. So I'm watching that. And second thing you can watch is federal funds rates. Yes. We can go to higher time frame, weekly, Bitstamp. So these are very important metrics. This is why market is reacting very abruptly on CPI news and FOMC. You can see again what is happening in market. So we can talk about previous cycle first. So we've seen that the big push in like they were printing so many trillions. They were literally handing people the checks with the money. Here at the Corona drop, the interest rates were super low, and the CPI was also super low. So everybody was buying. Like it takes time. It takes like weeks to months. So the printed money are actually shown in the real economy. So here was your time to load up. I just want you to remember this setup, because we might get it in the future. Same setup. You can notice Bitcoin then went into the bull market, equities as well. You look at the Fed funds rates, yeah, they were actually holding them to, like, they were saying the inflation is transitionary, so they were holding them too low for too long, and they overstimulated the market. Somewhere here, I remember that very vividly because we are trading that in the group. In October or November, the Fed said we will start increasing rates and the inflation is not transitionary. And that's actually what stopped market and we went to the downside. It started bear market. Inflation was already raging. Yeah? Look at the inflation, already 4%, 5%, increasing. And yeah, the Fed was reacting too late, but once they started raising rates very, very aggressively, you can see they put control on inflation and we started moving down. Look at the big lags, yeah, very big lags in economy. And then as they started pushing somewhere here, so Bitcoin was fighting and bottoming out in the bear market. Somewhere here they said we will slow down inflation increases. I mean Fed funds rates increases, and we will put pivot to the market. Yeah. So some people were already buying Bitcoin thanks to that. The inflation was already heading down, which was really great sign. And, people were seeing the Fed is, helping with the mandate. And the biggest push on Bitcoin and equities we've got when Fed went into the neutral rates. I mean, not neutral, but they stopped raising rates. This is called Fed's pivot. The Fed's pivot are very powerful for the markets. If they show intention, they don't want to raise rates, that's what assets low. Right now, you see what regime we have. They continue to lower the rates. I don't think we will reach zero unless we get like huge financial crisis. Here, yeah. But it's like the generally positive when rates are going lower. Why the rates are important? You can borrow money as an individual from bank easier with less. You pay less for that. Also, the mortgages in US are going down, the payments, and also the industries and institutions can borrow money cheaper for less. So it has widespread implication for the economy. The inflation is going slightly up, but I think the world will be trending 2-3% inflation in the next few years, very likely. Just unlikely we get to such a low inflation in the near future. What can happen in case we get financial crisis for whatever reason? AI bubble pops, or we just have generally slower condition thanks to tariffs or whatever. The Fed is gonna be lowering the rates, down. They will start printing money, up, and the inflation will also go down, and that can stimulate Bitcoin into future bull market. So that's what I'm watching. And generally, this is really good. The rates are going down. This can be supportive for the long term for the crypto, right? The lower the rates, the better for crypto. That's what we want to see. One warning sign for us is definitely the unemployment. I don't know why the line stops here. Maybe in July. It should be updated anyway. But the unemployment is slowly creeping in, and when that's happening, is always warning sign we might get some financial crisis. We already see AI related. They are like Amazon was sacking 30,000 people just yesterday. So AI starts to take the jobs from the people, and this can increase the unemployment and get us more serious or less serious financial crisis from macro, and then crypto will definitely get into much lower levels. So I'm keeping eye on unemployment. This is number one metric to watch after FOMC and then after CPI. Okay, so that's that. And now crypto is leading the business cycle. That's what I was mentioning earlier. The crypto is leading. The equities might be topping out in 1-2 months, but crypto already may be topped out there. That's some people narrative. We will see how that happens. And again, I want to mention technical analysis. We've hit lots of targets for this current bull market already. So I'm not surprised so many people on the spot market are taking profits on Bitcoin, because when we again go into the most important pools, let me show you. We need to see the more recent one. I like to go over this in order because now I have to search so much. No, these are more like long. Now these are short term. We need to see higher time frame. This is the main one. Yeah, this one is predicting us ranges. I want to go over that in the second half of the video, but we already hit 1-to-1 extension at 110,000. Yeah, so some people are considering this just a deviation outside, And this was like major target of the cycle, 110,000, because you did one-to-one extension from previous cycle. So that's one of the big, you know, balance zone. And then we have this folder where we have more, yeah. And even here, so I was first measuring this box here, yeah, with the low here and high here. But now you can also measure the like full market cycle high of the 2021 into the bear market low, and that also is hitting big extension targets. So you have like lots of people here unloading Bitcoin and crypto because they hit targets. You can easily do when we go to bear market, you can easily just do one high time frame range here and just start ranging above this. And I would even expect we go here in the like true bear market and do this. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing, and that's another reason why I'm taking some profits on spot and hodl. I like to have some hedge shorts from these highs. This is very huge reason. Like these two pools are like crucial. We have more pools, but I just want to show you the most important ones. One-to-one extensions are used for 50 years in traditional markets, and they were serving well to estimate where we put, like when we start raging on where we end the bull or bear markets. Yes, so don't underestimate. This is just too precise. Every single cycle I'm using these extensions. So that's extension targets hit. And we also have short-term NUPL capitulation line. Let me open that. As long as Bitcoin trades within 107 to 117k top buyers cluster, the market remains in delicate balance, not yet in full capitulation, but with time working against the bulls as conviction continues to erode. So here is our capitulation line on NUPL. You see the current drop. We've seen like some of the capitulation, but I don't think is like and like we should go lower to see even more people capitulating. Trump was really great. This is absolutely an awesome indicator because we were buying the Trump dip, especially when he pivoted out and he said there will be no fight with China, we will delay the tariffs and so on. This was the time to buy the dip. But you see very similar capitulation across the whole cycle. We've seen since Bitcoin was pushing up like in these lines, especially like minus 0.1, minus 0.2 of offering ultimate support for us. Same like here, same like here. Right now it's very mild capitulation. In case Bitcoin starts losing that 107, we might bring another capitulation event. Maybe we put higher low than this one, but we can easily get to 80,000 Bitcoin, 80 to 85, and then you go to 0.2 line and potentially find support just from this NUPL. So you see there is market stress, but it's still like there is more selling coming the lower you go. There will be more and more panic. And final factor for Bitcoin, and I think that's why it's also not acting so strong right now, is quantum trade narrative. Some people, even like very prominent people in the crypto community and people who hodled lots of Bitcoin over the years, they are saying the quantum trade is increasing, and every single year they are getting closer to break Bitcoin. There are some estimates they might break Bitcoin in 2 to 10 years. Yeah, I know it's very wide range, but it's gonna depend on how fast we progress in quantum fields. Satoshi coins, for example, they could be hacked the most easiest because they will have no quantum proof security. And I hope Bitcoin developers, they will bring some quantum update on Bitcoin in 2026 or 2027. When they do really good update, I think Bitcoin will get more premium into it because the people will be more happy it cannot be hacked, because the hack is always stress for Bitcoin. In current cryptographic procedures you cannot do this, but quantum computers can. Some parts of Bitcoins will never be saved in these old wallets. So yeah, this is also taking some premium from Bitcoin. People spreading FAT and fear on that. So this was my reasoning. We might see cycle pause or bear market. And there is like lots of fear in the market, yes, in the narrative. I would say there is 60% chance Bitcoin, I used to be like 50-50 like a week ago, but now I would say 60% chance Bitcoin is pretty much finished, and I'm keeping 40% for the upside. Yes, and let me now show you what's in favor of the bull market continuation. We will be starting with short-term hodl course basis. So like during whole cycle, this is the most crucial line for the whole cycle, yes, because it's showing you short-term hodlers, these people who are buying Bitcoin on the dips. And it's pretty much new capital, more fresh capital entering into the markets. Each time you start to stress them out, we are getting into the much lower pullbacks, like on Trump. Yeah, let's just go over whole cycle. So first of all, when you want to negate the bear market, yes, and this was how bear market was looking like. We were pushing, even when we are edging, we were doing those increases, like some new buyers were getting into early profits, but then immediately started to go into negative. Same thing here. So you pretty much spend most of the time below this in this column. And when bear market started to end, we did this initial push to the upside, and then we retested. This was the time when you should be buying most of the Bitcoin, because you negated downtrend and bear market, and you are holding the most clean. This is for me the most useful and most clean support of the cycle. Then we go to the upside. We are deviating some range, some accumulation around the line. Very good. Then we go into the first pullback. It's lost. Then you are ejecting from it. You are ranging. Another rejection. The more, remember on on-chain metrics, the more you tap on some metric, the higher the chance you will break it. So the third touch was finally the breakout, reclaim, and then we started resuming move to the upside. Another pullback. It's awesome. I'm watching this when I want to buy cheaper Bitcoin during mid cycle. Yeah, I'm not buying this in very light cycle, but mid cycle and very deep pullbacks, yes, it can be okay. This one again. Now we are at 2024. Yes, indeed, this was 9-month range, I think. Consolidation, retest, reclaim, holding. Then we started moving below. This was some market fear. I remember that this was the wars. We had the Germany selling Bitcoin, another big exchange. Mt. Gox was selling Bitcoin. So we've spent lots of time below this line. There was like lots of supply coming into the market, lots of chop around it, rejection, and then we again push. We finally started going away, and then we did the final push. Here is the tariffs era. I can show you that. Just a sec. Okay. We can go to recent history. Let me zoom in further. Last 6 months. No, we don't see the tariff. Last year. We can turn off what we don't need. Here is more recent era, so we see it better. The Trump, we went over that line, then we were rejecting. This was signaling further weakness. Then we were ranging for a long time, and people were buying the dip. And you see now we started coming into the line, lots of chop around it, reclaim, then a final retest, and then we started pushing to the upside. Very close front run. Some people were still buying Bitcoin very close to it. And and right now you see what's the price action. So we did few all-time highs, yes, here and here. We were holding the retest, very positive sign. Again, lots of people were coming into it because again, this is like institutional metric. So many people don't even watch technical analysis or whatever. They just DCA around this level, around this line. We are holding pullback, great. Brief spike below, but reclaim really good. And now you see what we are doing. We keep rejecting around the area 114 to 115. There was another rejection just today. I mean, past 48 hours from the highs, yeah, because we just range in here. So again, the more time we spend below, that's going to be warning sign for us. We either get similar thing as during tariffs, and we just create medium time frame range. Below that, people will be accumulating, then we push to the upside. Or when we start trading down, that's going to be warning sign for us. This is like you put pressure on these short-term hodlers, and we can go much lower. So I'm watching that. Yep. But for me, like to the upside, that's like a good factor for bull market. Again, I want to see lots of new value built above 113, in 114. You want to reclaim and then continue to the all-time high. So that's like first factor for us. Let's make this smaller. So seasonality, so you see seasonality has time to play out because Bitcoin does most of its gains in Q4. I was already showing you that. And in 10 days of the year, we do most of the gains, and often is October and December. So I was showing you there is some lag in seasonality, but we still have, when we go to chart, we have 4 weeks left, 8 weeks or 9 weeks left to play out, and Bitcoin can be like very, very abrupt to the upside. So the time is running out, but we still have time. November and December, a lot can happen. Especially when equities are delivering such a great results. So option market hedges expiration. I'll be now showing you a bit of options. This is fantastic. In 2025 September, at the end of it, I was telling our traders I'm watching when we expire on the biggest option expiry of the year. Look at the drop of the open interest on options. Huge options drop. We went to this sideways, yes, during the weekend. We are building massive longs from here, and then we were riding this big journey to the upside. I don't even care Bitcoin fell so much because I made so much on this move to the upside. I'm really happy. Then I shorted the all-time high. Again, I'm riding it down. Perfectly fine as a trader. I'm not that happy as an investor to seeing such a volatility, but for traders, this is amazing. So 26, I think somewhere around we've had that expiration. You can see now Bitcoin like built so much open interest again on options market, and now in few days we will have I think tomorrow, actually not tomorrow, in 12 hours we will expire on another huge option. So what I will be watching, let me show you on Deribit now. We go to 31st of October. We have notional value of 13 billion. That's the second highest option expiry of this year. And we can see the max pain price is at 114,000. So there was like general incentive of the market makers to keep Bitcoin below this line. I told our traders it's very, very possible we will be trading below this level until the expiry comes. It's gonna come at 8 a.m. GMT time, whatever place you are in the world. And once that happens, we might see some relief bounce on Bitcoin. Yeah, so watch for that. I already went long here on multiple reasons I was posting into the group, but watch when the option expiry goes off and what we do in the next few days. Again, we might repeat the same fractal as here, and we'll be watching that if we repeat that. So Bitcoin can go sideways or just get a small relief, then sideways during the weekend, and then push to the upside. Very similar fractal to previously. I will watch how big open interest we drop, because on Deribit there is going to be big open interest drop, but I want to see rest of the market because this is all exchanges. So I'm watching this. I'm watching this on Glassnode. Yeah. So watching for similar fractal, because remember the options, they are additional pressure on the market. Yes, when the option expires, for many people worthless because they failed, the price was not above 114,000, all these big levels. When 90% of people who are bullish are not making money, then option makers and dealers, they can rebalance portfolio after option is closed, and they will be pressuring market to the upside with that rebalance, with that gamma squeeze and other metrics. So I'm watching for this. And there is another option, statistics I can watch. Today we've seen also huge fear in the market again, very similar fear as 23 of October, also Wednesday 22. So market is still experiencing lots of fear on hedging after the flash crash drop. These are not normal metrics. It is almost close to 10%. It shows you huge hedging fear and not good, but we are now getting like market is finally stabilizing again back to 4 to 5. So that hedging is done, and we should see more calm price action on Friday, very likely. So yeah, but that's like very short-term call. We will need to analyze that. Let's go further. So options, they might be cooperating with us. We also don't have any blow off top on Bitcoin. That's argument for many people on Bitcoin when we go to high time frames. But just remember, Bitcoin, when it actually did blow off top, yes, you've got the week in 2019 or 2017, but then the 2021, look how we bottomed out. I mean, topped out, yeah. we didn't see like crazy god wick and then rejection. It was just taking out previous high. We've seen the nice push, but then we started slowly fading. Yeah, the secondary high, we also did like high time frame swing failure pattern, failed auction, rejection. Then we've got the fractal starting. So in Bitcoin, you know, these rejections are actually pretty harsh already with these marginal highs. You see like lots of supply here. I will be showing you that in TRDR, like so many, like hundreds, sorry, not hundreds, but tens of thousands of Bitcoins are distributing in these regions. So that's why you see such harsh rejections. But yeah, Bitcoin is now 2.2 trillion asset class and doesn't need like blow off top. But maybe we'll get it one. Like if Bitcoin starts pushing later on in this year into 130, 140, 150, and it's gonna be like very impulsive, same like gold, we might repeat same thing as on gold, because on gold you are getting a blow off top on weekly time frame. Yes, very, very strong impulse and then very strong rejection. Maybe similar on Bitcoin. We are still missing that on Bitcoin. Macro narrative with AI expansion is another reason. There is some estimates Bitcoin might be just, you know, equities will not crash as like soon, because we've seen like earnings of today. Meta and Apple was reporting, Apple and Amazon, and yesterday the Meta, Google, they were reporting too, and they are all showing big backlogs of orders. The demand is real, and we might be ongoing in this demand cycle for much longer time, even when we get some pullbacks. So this is still helping, and the markets are still holding really well, and that's going to be helping Bitcoin to have limited pullbacks in this scenario where we don't get a big bear market. Yeah. And another reason is part of gold market cap might flow into the Bitcoin. This is crazy metric, but you see gold was a huge winner of this year. The gold added 9.5 trillion in 2025, and it's like 3.8 times more than entire Bitcoin network. And we are seeing some nice profit taking on gold. It went a few $100 down, so it's like already 2 trillion of profit taking. Some of those money can find home in Bitcoin. That happens often in traditional markets when one asset class, very similar asset class, is pushing, then it's going into profit taking. That profit taking is seeking a place elsewhere, and it can find home in Bitcoin. Yeah, I would expect this is going to be happening on macro scale anyway, because yeah, Bitcoin has different properties, but it's still tracking gold like long term. Yeah, it has so many properties similar to gold. So yeah, we might find something from that. It actually was happening. We just failed with it, sadly. When I go to smaller time frame, I will be turning off 50-minute time frame. Yeah. So you see gold started pullback. 30-minute time frame will be even better. Gold double top at all-time highs with very tight swing failure pattern, moving into the huge pullback, and then Bitcoin is catching the beat as gold is going down. So I think that already happened, like very partially. Some money from gold find home in Bitcoin, but we need to see if it's gonna be sustaining. And I think gold, like long term should be going up, and Bitcoin is still benefiting. Like when you go to 1 hour time frame, you see Bitcoin is only happy when gold is pushing to the upside and catching up. So ideally we want to see gold continuing to the upside, not going down, because you will be just speculating. Some capital can go to Bitcoin, but when gold is going up, then Bitcoin is also happy. Don't watch this. Again, this was special for the crypto markets, for the like over leveraged push. Well, the funniest outcome possible would be everyone selling their Bitcoin into the end of the year 4-year cycle, only to discover there was no 4-year cycle. That's what I'm saying with the narrative. Yeah, everybody is taking profit now, but and so far some big entities are absorbing this huge selling pressure. What if all the people who wanted to sell and many people sell too much, because I'm never selling too much. That's what I'll be explaining you here. And people sell all the precious Bitcoin. BlackRock is absorbing it, and other ETF funds. And ultimately we go beyond 130, 140k, and people who sold too early, they will be forced to rebuy back, and they will buy the top again. Yeah, this is ultimately like contrarian view, but it can be possible for the bull market as well. And we have another like contrarian factor, the sentiment with the fear and greed index. We have multiple sides we can track it, but actually Hyblock is very clean. So what we did for the past few cycles, I'm not counting, look at the that's what we need to understand. Yeah, when you are in bear market, you will have fear and greed index just at the very low levels. But during a bull market cycle, when you have fear and greed index in the lower levels, my filter is set at, I think, 40. Below 40 is gonna show. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, filter 30, actually below 30. So in our current bull market, each time Bitcoin sentiment got destroyed, like here below 30, it was time to buy the Bitcoin for the long term and for the another continuation to the upside. Yes, same like here during tariff drops, and we are right now experiencing same regime. This was additional factor when I told our traders we are buying the fear basically. When we go into this week, when we are here, there was another fear. The fear is already dropping again. You can just range in this fear and then find the resolution to the upside. So that will be helpful for us. And I think I missed. Yeah, this is one more pause. I should go over. It's not related to the scenarios, but what you can notice here, when Bitcoin tends to have the illiquid bull regimes, when you really push over empty order books and you make most of the gains in the cycle. Yes, like here in 2021. Then we did same in January. In 2024. Very long-term range, very long-term range. Now, right now, we are already in very long-term range from, again, when we come to Bitcoin. You can view this as one large range, and this is happening since May. Yes, even like portion of this, it was deviation. So you are in very long-term range, and when we do so, we tend to we are brewing for very massive move. The one thing I can tell you, I'm positioned both ways right now because I'm intraday trading, but I cannot tell you if you move huge move to the upside or to the downside, because I gave you arguments for both. Yes, but we are brewing. It's very likely the next move on high time frame is gonna be massive breakout to the upside or massive breakdown to the downside. And you can predict the breakdown to the downside with the help of Onchain and technical analysis. Where will market become very weak? Yes. So the choppy regime continues. So these were my arguments for the bull market continuation. I have less of them, but the weight is 40% for the continuation up and 60% for the deeper pullbacks. But what you need to do right now is again use on-chain data, and just pause the video. I was explaining this in previous video. I just want to tell you the most important levels again, just remind you. 95k is the last last level where you don't want to go below, because this is going to be shocking the market. Again, 62% of people bought Bitcoin above 95,000. So all of them will get underwater, and they will create massive pressure in markets. So the forced selling can get us to 90 to 85k easily, yeah, just on their pain. And another, when we start through bear market, is the metric of true market mean. This is long-term hodlers average for them. And then we have the strategy cost basis, 75k, and high time frame, ETF cost basis is now at 81,000, because we've seen lots of buying on ETFs. So 80,000 you don't want to also lose, because this is going to be bad for ETF hodlers. In these windows, I think I have, no, I don't, no. And also, I track more options on IBIT. Yes, I'm still learning it, but I'm gonna show you. You will be learning it in our trading group. But the most gamma is placed in 100k to 120. Yeah, Anytime you breach 100k or 120, the option dealers, they will be forced to rebuy or reposition their portfolio. So this can add additional volatility in the market below 100k. So just remember these two levels. Very likely if you breach 120k, we go for new all-time highs, and 100k is gonna be accelerating us to the downside. So these were my arguments for more bull market continuation. And now let me tell you what I'm doing in this situation. So what steps I'm doing to protect myself, because again, I cannot know the future. Yeah, nobody can know the future. We can only act and calculate probabilities, because you will not find out you are in bear market when it's too late anyway. Yeah, that's the thing. So what I'm doing is I'm taking profit on Bitcoin past year since we've got to 100k and above. As I was explaining you on the chart, 100k, 110 and 120 above, and even last call at 126k I was taking another profit on Bitcoin. You just have to pay yourself, because in 2017 I got round tripped. Everything I made in 2017 was lost in 2018 bear market. I haven't booked a penny. In 2021 I did better. I actually booked, from all the profits on portfolios, I booked around 50%, 55 to 60%. That's pretty good outcome, but I still got round tripped. Yes, and I was also trading Bitcoin in BTC USD pair, where I was trading just directly Bitcoin, and I lost value on that as well. Yeah, now I'm more in Tether. I'm rebalance the risk. You should not be trading out of Bitcoin right now when it's close to all-time highs. Yes, because you can lose the account just when Bitcoin loses the value. So that was my lesson in 2021, much better. And current cycle went really good for you, good for me. I already booked, I would say, 50 to 60% of positions I wanted. For example, I don't have any shit coins anymore. Solana did 10x for me, from $30 to 300. I was already booking on Solana profits at 200, 250, 300. I still have some. The Ethereum was disappointing for me there. We went only to sideways, so this I was not booking any profit on Ethereum. That's probably the only drag on my portfolio is Ethereum. It just constantly undelivers, but hopefully institutional demand in the continuation cycle or in next bull market will help it. As Tom Lee is saying, and on Bitcoin I pretty much nailed it because it's my main asset I trade and invest. So I was taking some nice profits. I was using some profits to buy the dips, like during tariff drop, and also at 105k week I was buying some Bitcoin. That's the best way when you can sell high and buy low. And I'm also I'm keeping hedge shorts intact after take profit 1 and take profit 2. I was already explaining that, but I just want to show you. Well, let's go trades. We can add the new trade, by the way. So I'm keeping this trade, I'm keeping until I'm stopped out or we go into the bear market. This trade I'm keeping last 30, it's 40%. I will either get stopped out here or market round trips the last 40% I have, because this is going to be another hedge for me for much lower downside. And meanwhile, you can have both positions open on Bybit, so you can be in hedge longs and they can be much larger. Today I was buying Bitcoin just at the lows because this was the area of interest for me. Right at the close session I was getting long. We did swing failure pattern. It was a bit slow one, but still fine. We were sweeping these lows. This was very crucial for me to do. And also on CME, so I have another long. Pretty much, you see, I got like 30% left on this position. So when I was longing here, I was actually adding to this trade. It was not like new standalone trade. It's standalone trade when you don't have any position here. So I was back to 100% size, and then I'm already hitting take profit 1. Even before I started video, I was placing some take profits 1. I told our traders it's very likely we bounce here thanks to earnings on tech giants, and also thanks to close session. Because when we go to close session, this is just small tip to you. Sessions. Zooming out, we can go to Bybit. when you have two sessions like London and New York session just firmly trending down, the close session there is like heavy reasoning. We've got the we've got the ETFs selling on market as additional pressure point, and when they are unable to, because after cash close they are unable to sell, so just on that you often get relief or sideways price action. So I'm like this was the whole long idea. It was also area of interest for me. Look at the heavy delta in this session into the lows. Yeah, lots of shorting, some shorts got trapped as well. So yeah, this is statistical bounce. Even here, yeah, as you were dropping in your session, we were going sideways at least, so you found some stability. That's how, because some people can trade only this session, so make sure to be aware of that. Yeah? Be aware of these principles. I was posting same principles into the group. Yeah, this was planned area for long, pretty easy. Easy. So that's that. How long is the video? Video is already decently long, but it had to be long because I wanted to explain some things. Let's return back to my post. So yes, yeah, important is to keep some head shorts. Again, my approach is I'm taking profit 1, take profit 2, and take profit 3. I don't take profit. I either hit stop loss or I'm keeping the hedge for the bear market. That's how I can protect myself super easily, and I can sleep well. And I'm also not adding much to my hodl accounts. I'm buying Bitcoin. I'm not buying Bitcoin generally above 110k. I only start to add to Bitcoin at 105k, 100k, and then I have much, I have more spot hodl entry areas. So I can show you what's my prepared DCA areas with alpha squared and technical analysis. Let me show you that. So in the future, you know where is a good place to buy Bitcoin. Not financial advice again, yeah. Right, so let's go to alpha squared. What you can pretty much watch is risk levels on alpha squared if you don't have time. You generally want to, first entries on Bitcoin can be done when you drop to 40, and then you increase your entries to much larger size when you are at 30, 20, and of course it's your generational opportunities below 10. Yeah, and you don't get that as often. Yeah, the 10 right now is at 55,000. Well, not that likely, so far away, right? You would need like financial crisis and bear market for that, but still you are prepared. Here is a risk monitor on how it's looking. Again, this is fantastic tool. I made very heavy description in our group because it's averaging all on-chain, like so many things are getting averaged into one beautiful tab. And you see each time Bitcoin went into the bear markets, it was hitting these big risk levels below 10, same like in 2018. You also you can DCA out from market at above 90. Same thing here in the bear market. You see it takes time. It takes like weeks or months to bottom out. What is worth it? You catch the generational low. During bear market, we went into the nice pullback and we hit below 20. So you see, sometimes you don't get 0 or 10. You have to make entries at 30 or 20. That's again not for trading. It's more for DCAs. Let me show you past the year. Maybe 3 years is better. And look at that. Bitcoin still risk at 43. The last time on tariff, even though, and that was big fear in the market, remember, we've hit almost 30. So you had to act here as well for another entry. It was already very decent region. I'm really interested at 40, 30, 20, and then 10. You should spread Bitcoin like that without any technical analysis or whatever. This is not even accounting technical analysis. It's just pure math. In the 2024, when you had so much risk in the market, we were actually hitting 25, 30. So another threshold, yeah. So yeah, these are the thresholds for this. To the upside, 90 is at 220. I'm not sure it's that likely for Bitcoin, but yeah, more likely we hit something like 60 to 70 in case we resume bull market. So 140 to 160k. Why I'm saying that? Because you see in this cycle, you always watch how Bitcoin behaves in the current cycle. This is the most important to watch. The current cycle tops, and when we went into the very long-term consolidations, they were happening when the risk was at 60, 65.67, yes, this one. Another one 64.67. So what I will be doing when we come to 64.67, do I will be longing? No, I'll be looking for head shorts. I'll be looking for new high time frame range to form, and I'll be booking another profit on my hodl portfolios. If we start breaching 66, 67, then I might be more greedy. I will wait for a strong top. But if we start rejecting, same like here, well, you have no, this is mathematical DC out. Yeah, you go out from the market with the help of that. And from I have some areas mapped on empty folder, medium time frame. Here are the areas where I will be buying Bitcoin on the next pullbacks and daily time frame. This is more for, yes, it's for bear market, but also for the controlled pullback. These are the areas I would say for 2026 when we don't get bear market, but we can get consolidation year, and you get like this election year when we get to see 20 to 30% pullback in equities. Then you're ready. You see my first area was already hit, yeah? So I was already dollar cost averaging in here, but also it was trade area, so we went with leverage. If this area is lost, the next area I'm watching for Bitcoin to go in is this area, but it's gonna be based on doing swing failure pattern from this low and holding high volume node and point of control from the previous range. If I see this, I'm not taking the trade. I will be waiting lower. I will be waiting at 93 to 92. And we also know 95k is gonna be triggering lots of problems on Onchain. On ETFs will get into trouble. Sorry, not the ETFs, but most people who bought Bitcoin past few months, they will be in minus. So there could be like huge selling to the downside. Yeah. So these areas I want to trade, but I want to see market holding it well with the order flow, also ideally creating local range, or we get huge wick to the downside, then you buy the dip. It all depends. You cannot predict this. You have to be in the market and watch how it happens, because this was huge buying with these wicks, of course. But if we get sustained selling, like you don't want to touch market when you see something like this, yeah, just bleed and then doing this. No. You want to touch market when you see nice local range, you ideally sweep the range a few times, then you build position, or you want to see V-shaped recovery. These are two scenarios you buy the market in the trade area. So this is how it's planned for like based on AMT, yes, and based on this cycle, areas of interest for me. And you can also turn on, we can turn on the high time frame VA, where I have also, no, I don't have. I have many folders somewhere. Somewhere I have these, like where I, okay, macro. Should be macro. Oh, yes, it is. So yeah, these areas were more like local for high time frame, but for macro, it's very likely in case Bitcoin gets into serious bear market, we get financial crisis in the world or whatever, it's very likely you should be running 75k lows, yes, and then you will be trading this range. But remember, this range is gonna be getting help from the macro range, and this macro range was taking time, like to build the volume from like for a few years. Yeah, so these are the areas where I will be entering Bitcoin with much larger exposure. Not only Bitcoin, general in crypto and equities, so crypto companies, everything I will be buying cheap here. This is really first strong high volume now to watch and retest 57,000, fantastic, you know. And this can actually be potentially bottom of our market in the future. And you sweep this low, but you still hold the macro poke of 4 years. This is the main one. No, this is secondary one, and you still hold a high volume node. Capitulation of the future bear market, in case everything bad happens to Bitcoin, is going to be in this area very likely. 35 to 31,000. Yeah, just I'm already will be doing big purchases here, but this is going to be for me the generational opportunity to you know, to trade last cycle, we can say. And it's gonna be all interconnected with how Bitcoin is ranging. You see, we are still following these fractals when we are creating the range, And you see, when you want to damage and punish all the people who are buying current cycle, that's what Bitcoin did every single cycle in the past. Maybe this time is gonna be different because ETFs are not all ETFs are panicking, and they will be holding for a very long time. You have like lots of hodl OGs. But if you want to punish all these people, you will ultimately run this range as well and go into here. Or you will use previous range and find support here in this box and do not go over. Yeah, we will see. This is like too much into the future. We cannot predict that so well. Anything else I want to talk here? So just remember, it's impossible to know the future. All we can do is to estimate probabilistic odds. You need to know what gets more likely when certain zones and areas are lost. On charts from technical analysis, order flow, macro, sprinkled with the macro regime we are in. I already showed you on-chain macro points, and let's remind you where are the ETF, because ETFs are playing a big role in the current cycle. Of course, they are helping move to the upside. So you see here, this is where the most ETFs were entering into the market. So far in the current cycle, each time we had the ETF dips, they were quickly bought up. But this is the most worrying factor. When you start really breaking into lower levels, you will be trapping so much positive delta in these ETFs, and you will just out of their pain, you will be causing lots of cascades. You see how this was capitulation during Trump drops. Yeah, this was the biggest outflows day of the whole cycle, and this outstretch moved to the downside. Then we've seen the lows taken, but the ETFs were not even selling as much, and we've seen the big inflow. So you will be watching for similar patterns on ETFs for the in the current moves to the downside or upside. For now, ETFs are returning, but I want to see what we do after today, because we've seen heavy outflows. And one more chart. This is for high time frame, how they were entering, so we can see the distribution. This start was the 10th of January for ETFs. Look how much they accumulated already, 62 billion. That's insane. All these people. You know what's the thing about bear market? If you want to punish most of those people, well, you will run where they started accumulating, right? So you see the maximum pain in the future for Bitcoin will be below 40k, sadly, where you absolutely crush everyone buying Bitcoin in the current cycle, ETFs. That's going to be maximum pain point. It's not guaranteed you reach it, but it's going to be decent. And it's also possible the 49k low also, this is carrying like 60% of the buying, also can be run. And you can see how important the tariff Trump law is also. Yeah, because since that moment we've seen almost like it didn't double the move, but we went from 60 billion of inflows to 25 billion on inflows. So you see, all like, in case Bitcoin gets into trouble, you should at least punish these people. Think about it like that. Okay, so that's what I went over everything what I planned for you. We can have a look on Bitcoin very briefly on technical analysis and order flow, and I don't want to do this video too long. Just want to show you, because the proper technical analysis video and order flow will be next Monday or Tuesday, because I will be updating chart as well. So again, I'm still long from these lows. It was expected bounce to the upside. Let's go to AMT. I'll just show you a few things. So we played out this fractal to the downside as well. Can go to smaller time frame. So remember, yesterday we were trading long from this val as well. Not a bad push, but POG was, not reclaimed. Then we've got acceptance into this range, and you see the val of that range is holding. You are just bouncing on profit taking from shorts and some people coming in. This was another area to be expected to be run. Again, with these weak lows, was super easy to expect this gonna be run. And you already took, we moved to the downside, we closed the CME gap. That's fantastic. You look at that. We were expecting it's gonna be closed. Yes, CME gap got closed. You get the swing failure pattern here. Liquidity was also run. Look at all these nodes, they are getting run. And remember, if you return back into these lows, we still have some left liquidity from multiple lows here, from this one, we did, oh yeah, this one was front, a swing failure pattern, but we still have some liquidity below. This is 18, oh yeah, actually look at that. So here was weekend trading. So we have a weekend liquidity below this low. This can be also run, so be careful, yeah. But right now this is looking okay for bounce. If we run weekend liquidity and start pushing to the upside, I'll be taking another long, that's for sure. You know about my shorts. They are, I already showed them a few times, so they are placed in place in the market. Now I want to look on the long side. Ultimately, we can be just, so even the MT is looking ugly because we lost the 2 weeks val. We can be just ranging in this box. And the idea for this box is not, you know, I was posting that long time ago. Box. Here. 28, so this is 2 days back when we were already in short. So from the highs, I was telling our traders, you couldn't ask for better short. And that's why I said traders to keep that short, because after take profit 1, which is done with local range rotation, you left some exposure for CME gap fill. We were still you know, working on CME gap closure, but also ultimately trading that range, because we are still in the medium time frame range, right? Even when we trade below val. If you want to see more upside, of course we want to see reclaim of the val. After, if we cannot reverse after weekend liquidity, which is resting here, we will be watching. I have alerts at these key lows here, 1, 2. As these lows are close together, they should be run together and maybe give us another V-shaped recovery swing failure pattern. If we fail here, you know what to expect. Much larger downside moves, because the risks will be increasing for Bitcoin. And open interest is increasing as we move to the downside, and the delta is decreasing. So it's showing you we have lots of shorts positioned in the market. Yeah, so this is like genuine move. The only way how to reverse this is starts changing structure and get back into their entry, so they are forced to close in a loss. They are forced to rebuy back, but you see lots of heavy shorts with leverage entering, and we will see how it all ends. But ideally we squeeze them, that would be fantastic, yeah. And if you want to see again if you want to see bull market back and new all-time highs, it's still crucial for me to reclaim 117 200s. Yeah, this is going to be capturing the biggest sell side impulse. Look at the OE open interest traded there, 40 billion. Yeah, so this is the event. This is the candle which is describing everything. And oftentimes when this was the 2021 fractal. When you do something like this, you place range inside that candle. Yeah, so you place range here, and this is what market is doing. So it's absolutely not surprising what we are doing right now, but we have to reclaim this. So you trap everybody shorting the impulse. You trap the because here there was lots of hedging, or in the fear there was another hedging here. You trap these multiple highs close together, and then you build power for new all-time highs. But yeah, right now market is still looking pretty weak, of course. Just saying you what can happen for the future. I think I don't want to go over order flow and technical analysis as much. I will do it on next week. But I wanted to push this video out so you see how I'm thinking about market, how I protected myself, what's my view for the bull market and for the bear market. I hope if you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe. And if you want to trade with us in a group, you are welcome and join us. Thank you for watching, traders, and bye.